Taoiseach Micheál Martin has said that his thoughts are with the victims of the attack in Stoneybatter at the weekend, as he urged any members of the public with information to come forward. Our thoughts are with the victims of the shocking attacks in Stoneybatter earlier today, he said. I want to pay tribute to the Gardaí and the emergency services for their prompt response. I wish all of those injured a full recovery and urge anyone with information to contact the Gardaí. Gardaí are continuing to investigate what they describe as a quote-unquote serious incident over the weekend. On Sunday, 3 adult men aged between their mid-20s and mid-40s sustained injuries of a slashing nature during an attack. 2 of them suffered serious but not life-threatening injuries, while the third had more superficial or minor wounds. And as of the most recent official update, all 3 men were in hospital receiving care. As for the suspect, a man in his late 20s has been arrested and detained at a Garda station. It's understood that he is a non-Irish national of Latin American ethnicity, but he is not believed to be an international protection applicant. And Gardaí believe that the suspect acted alone. They say that they are increasing their visible presence in the Stoneybatter area to reassure the community that everything is fine and that there is no ongoing danger. Following the incident, Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan described the attack as random. I'm receiving updates from An Garda Síochána about the situation in Stoneybatter, he said on social media, adding, the suspect is now in custody and the victims of this awful random attack are receiving medical attention. As reported by RTE, speaking on RTE's Morning Ireland, Minister Jim O'Callaghan said it is understood that the man is homeless and originally from South America. He said the man hadn't really been brought to the attention of Gardaí before, although there was some minor interaction, I think, in 2023. But information that has been brought to my attention is that this isn't a person who is seeking international protection or had been granted international protection. That's my assessment. The minister said that it was a shocking experience for people in the area and was horrific for the 3 men brutally attacked. He said it could have been a lot worse and praised Gardaí, in particular the Garda who arrived there first and apprehended and disarmed the individual concerned, but also the Gardaí got there very quickly, and had they not, I fear we could have been talking about something much worse this morning rather than the 3 serious injuries which took place. The minister said Gardaí told him the attacks were random. What appeared to happen is the individual went along the streets, the 3 locations in Oxmantown Road, Carnew Street and Niles Street, and the 3 men who were attacked just unfortunately were in a position where they were passing by at the time and it was horrific for them. He added, obviously the people of the community and throughout Dublin are very scared about this because they're just wondering, is this something that could happen to them? They're walking around their neighbourhoods. I think it's important to emphasise that although it's not unprecedented, attacks like this are highly unusual. At the time of the incident, a significant Garda response was deployed, including the Armed Support Unit, and the suspect was intercepted near the scene by a Garda who was unarmed. Gardaí are now appealing for witnesses to the attack to come forward. Anyone who is in the Stoneybatter area between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. on Sunday is asked to get in touch with their local Garda station if they have any potentially useful information or video footage of what happened. As for the political reaction, Labour Party TD Marie Sherlock said it was a freak incident. Notably, Sherlock is a TD for the Dublin Central constituency, which contains Stoneybatter, so she is a TD for that area. She said it seems to be an awful case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that this was a series of random attacks.
Hiya, I'm here in Stoneybatter, and our hearts and our thoughts very much go out to the 3 who were stabbed in such horrendous circumstances today, and of course our thoughts are very much with them, that they'll make a full recovery, but also with their families and indeed their neighbours in the Stoneybatter area. I know there's a huge amount of concern about the motivation for the attacks, but I know from talking to people who came on the scene, from talking to the Gardaí, that there is a strong belief that this is very much a random attack, a freak incident, and we're very glad now that the attacker is in custody. So again, want to wish those who are bearing the hallmarks of that awful attack a speedy and full recovery.
Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald, who is also a TD for the Stoneybatter area in Dublin Central, said that her thoughts were with the victims. Terrible news from Stoneybatter this afternoon, she said. My thoughts are with those injured and their families. The community is in a state of shock. The Gardaí and emergency services are to be commended for their response. Gary Gannon of the Social Democrats, another local TD, described the attacks as heartbreaking. Heartbreaking news from Stoneybatter in the last few hours, he said. My thoughts are with the victims, their families, and the entire community affected by this. A sincere thank you to our emergency services and the Gardaí for such a quick response this afternoon. Meanwhile, Taoiseach Simon Harris described it as such a frightening time. Thinking of the community of Stoneybatter this evening and thinking most particularly of those who were violently attacked and their families, he said. Glad to hear of such a speedy response from the Gardaí at such a frightening time. The full rigours of the law must and will apply. Meanwhile, Independent Senator Sharon Keoghan sarcastically posted on social media, whatever you do, don't link crime with immigration, #Stoneybatter. It's very important to emphasize that this is going to be an active legal case, meaning that individuals are considered innocent until proven guilty. The words alleged and a suspect have to be used, and there is a risk of prejudicing trials. So there are legal restrictions on what journalists and politicians are allowed to see, as would be the case for any other legal proceeding. So if you are responding to news articles or social media posts about this topic, it's important to bear all of that in mind.